say, okay, I want them to be they're my first choice, they're my second choice, they're my third choice. But I think it's important to know numerous property managers and also meet them and see their operations. That way you can have a backup plan in case anything goes wrong. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit as to why I think investors get into trouble, and then I would like to introduce two women that came on the ride with me and give them a little time to speak as well. So why do investors get into trouble? Number one, I think it's because they don't do enough due diligence. They're not aware of the economy when they're buying in. They're not familiar with the location. Possibly they didn't even go and see the property. They haven't met enough property managers in the area. I just think they don't do enough research. They get excited, boom, they buy the first property that comes their way, and they get into trouble. Number two, I think a lot of investors that get into trouble do so because they're over-leveraged. And you know what, folks? It's really easy to get over-leveraged. I've been there. I've been over-leveraged myself. The hard part is not buying property. The hard part is managing your property and being able to maintain your property. That's really the hard part and the key. Once you buy your first investment, the rest are a lot easier to acquire.
So you're saying the no money down thing may not be as good as people think it would be.
Well, it can be if you have reserves,
right,
and if you're buying in a good location where you're going to have stable tenants and not high turnover.
Right.
It just really depends on the area, the market, and the property.
Right.
You know, and that's the tricky thing about real estate. There's so many variables, but just please don't over leverage. I know it's so hard to do because we get excited and we want to buy everything we can as fast as possible. But like I said, the trick is being able to manage, being able to maintain your properties, because if you're not able to maintain your properties, you're not going to be able to keep your tenants in place. They're not going to be happy. And then you're going to start seeing a lot of turnover and a lot of money going into those units.
Do you keep much of a relationship between you and the tenants, or you kind of step back from that and just deal strictly with the managers?
Well, with my local tenants, I do have a relationship with them, but that's not smart. Keep your distance. Your tenants are your tenants, and it's not supposed to be, a friendly, happy-go-lucky relationship. I mean, treat them with respect, of course. I mean, they're individuals. They deserve to be treated with respect, and when something goes wrong, you should try and fix whatever issue, is wrong. But at the same time, don't get friendly, because you may not collect your rent ever again on time. So try and maintain a professional distance from your tenants, and that's what I do. I'm always respectful of them, but I maintain my professional distance from them. And another problem that investors make is they cash in too quickly on their investments. They may own it 5-6 years, and then they're like, oh, well, this doesn't work. I'll forget it. I'm just going to sell it. An investment, a property, is going to give you the most cash flow once it's paid off, once you don't own anything on that property. But unfortunately, most investors don't get to that point. They lose focus, they lose track, and they give up after a few years. But the real benefits are not going to come until after you pay that property off and you own it free and clear, and that's when you're really going to start making that cash flow and seeing all the benefits that real estate can bring you. So they sell too quickly. Another problem is they start spending the money that they're making in cash flow instead of saving it for their reserve fund. And when I sell properties, because I do have clients that I advise, I tell them, when you get your rental income it can come out of there. Don't go to Hawaii. Don't buy that, new Lexus and have a $500 lease payment. Try and save for that rainy day. And a lot of times investors get really excited. They just bought a property, they're getting cash flow, and they want to start living it up. And one of the reasons that my husband and I have been successful is because we've been very conservative, and we're also frugal. We have a very no-nonsense lifestyle, and all the money that is generated with our cash flow, I try and put that aside and not touch it. Yeah, I'm going to dig in once in a while if I need to, but I try and keep that separate. And I just have a few other words of advice. Number one, grow conservatively. A lot of times investors grow way too quickly, and then they get themselves into a pickle where they have too much property, they have too much debt, too many mortgages, too many tenants. And I've gotten to that point, and before I sold some properties, and now I feel much more comfortable, but there was a time when I just got way in over my head. And I didn't even want to be a landlord anymore. You don't want to get to that point. Stay motivated. Keep networking. Keep coming to events such as these. They're very important. We all go through downfalls. We all go through periods of time when we don't want to be landlords anymore. We don't want to deal with the tenants. But we have to motivate each other and know that we're in this game for a reason, and we're going to end up being really successful. So just, keep that focus. Number three, don't be afraid of spending money on your education. I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have the magazine if I hadn't spent literally thousands of dollars on my real estate education. I've taken a lot of boot camps, I've taken a lot of seminars, I go to a lot of events, and I have done that for many years. I think it's really important to learn new techniques, new information, ideas that can benefit you. So don't be afraid of spending money, because you will get that money back if you apply what you learn. That's the key, if you apply what you learn.
Before you're finished, can you talk a little bit about your expos and what you're doing there and the value that provides?
Oh, sure. Well, we have expos in Los Angeles, and we've also had real estate expos in the Bay Area and in Arizona. And I bring in my advertisers from around the country, and they're all over the U.S. in different markets. And we get together for one day. They have a vendor booth, and we bring in investors, and it's a great day of networking. They get to go up and speak and talk about the different markets that they represent. And there's a lot of deals that are done right there on the spot. So we provide those expos. They're free to all investors. I will definitely let you know when the next one is. And we're actually going to start moving them towards this side of California. We're going to start having one probably locally in Santa Barbara real soon. So I'm very excited about that.
So I have to say, having gone to your last one, I did meet somebody there that was doing no-doc loans, and I said, well, is the economy getting that good that there's actually no-doc loans? And he said, no. And I said, well, how'd you go about getting no-doc loans? You just dig long enough and hard enough? And he said, pretty much, I just made lots and lots of contacts until I got to the right source, and they're institutional lenders. So these expos are really, like she said, there's deals being had right there at the expo from the different people that you meet. They're very worthwhile going to.
And it's great because it gives you an opportunity to drive a couple of hours and meet some of the best property managers and brokers in the country. Because I don't want to toot my own horn, but we do have great relationships with top management firms all over the country that have exceptional customer service and exceptional records. They're very reputable, and they handle a lot of our investment for our clients.
And did you want to show a couple of websites that you had there?
Oh, yes. Well, this is our website, and you can click where it says free issue,